e tudo. Um sentimento bom que me leva pro outro mundo. A vontade de te ver já é maior que tudo. Não existem distâncias no meu novo mundo, tipo coisas da sétima.
All right. So I've got Filthy Tom Lawlor here, and we're kind of midway into a little bit of a weird conversation, which I feel is in our best benefit to not continue. So on that note, let's continue it.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, I was more than ready to.
So I believe the way that this is done is, with, the Beavis and Butthead episode with the toad. Right, where they lick the toad and they trip out or whatever.
Yeah.
The psychedelic part of it, where they're in the is that what it is? Where they're in the desert, they lick the toad, or was it something else?
All I remember is Winger.
Winger, that was Stewart.
Whatever that Stewart, Stewart wearing the Winger shirt.
That was a Stewart thing. So I think that's real. And what happens if I had a guess, allegedly, I think they take that toad and somehow remove the stuff that you would lick off of the toad. I'm picturing, the Jackass movie where they have that sea urchin and they play like they're jerking it off and it does its thing.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm picturing something like that.
Okay.
And from there they do something and then that is smoked and then you have an episode similar to that Beavis and Butthead episode.
So you smoke the toad.
You smoke the toad.
Oh, that's all right. So I have like a similar but completely different story. I was in Cuba, and this was in 2000 and I forget, 2011, maybe 2012. There's some other people there. I won't mention their names. But
allegedly.
Maybe there wasn't anybody else there. They no longer exist. They have been deleted from memory.
And rendered obsolete.
So we are in Cuba. When I say we, I mean myself. And I decide to book a Santeria. So, an animal sacrifice Santeria.
Oh, okay.
So
allegedly.
Yeah. No, I booked Sublime. They were going to come in and sing the song and we have a great time. Yeah. So I booked a Santeria and I went to this place and they take a turtle and at one point, they killed the goat. They slit a goat's throat, let it bleed out. That was kind of creepy. They took a turtle and cut its head off. And I look at the gentleman next to me because I don't speak any Spanish. He does. And the guy's saying something. And I said, well, what did the guy say? And he said he wants you to drink it first. And the guy pours alcohol down where the turtle's head was and hands it to me.
Oh my God.
So I drank it. I took a swig. I gave it to the next guy. He looked at me, drank it, shook his head, kept drinking it. Wow. And then gave it back to the guy. Unbelievable, yeah.
So what was that experience like? Was there a high with it? Or was it just the what the fuck kind of thing?
Yeah, it was more like, okay, I'm in this strange country. I'm in some dude's house who I don't know. I'm down on both my knees, looking at a shrine of an animal. There's a bled out goat behind me, and this guy's standing there with a machete, so quite a harrowing experience. But I mean, that was kind of the rush to it all, I started having second thoughts after we first booked it. So, but realistically, all it was us paying this guy to kill these animals that they were going to eat. They're bleeding them out in his kitchen so they could eat them later. So we just basically supplied these people dinner for probably a couple months,
Yeah.
So I felt like it was I did a good deed, honestly.
Yeah, it's not like a trophy kill in Cuba.
Yeah.
I remember a lot of people protesting that stuff back in the day. I think they probably still do now, right? People get all bent out of shape, but they even do it in New York, right? You always hear about Joey Diaz talking about growing up and, Cuban American family, they immigrated over and they did this stuff in Brooklyn or whatever.
Yeah.
That's
if you're going to use the animal, who gives a damn, really? But
honestly,
if you're just killing it to discard it and toss it away, I don't know.
It's a dick move. You hear about a lot of the big trophy hunt stuff, done in Africa now, where they go over and it's like a vanity kill. But these villages still eat that food, so I don't know. I'm a meat eater, so it's kind of hard for me to get all up in arms about anything like that. I'm not going to stop eating meat.
Yeah. Plus, but when you start going to Africa and hunting the animals over there, then you get situations like Harambe over here. He comes over here and he's trying to get vengeance for his guerrilla brethren back in Africa for the attacks.
I just saw a Siegfried and Roy poster the other day, and I'm like, just looking, check its eyes, be like, are you looking for revenge, man? Are you coming back? It's going to happen again.
Well, here's what gets me is like sometimes, you hear about all these, the way the animals are treated and they're treated terribly. And like realistically, I have no idea. Like, I don't know how they're doing out in the wild. I don't know what they're doing with them when they're in captivity. But sometimes I'm like, do they really have it that bad? Because dogs, like domesticated dogs, they're living the life.
I'm jealous of most dogs. I'm
let's
jealous
be
of
honest,
most dogs. Most dogs, like with the pet owners, and they have those licenses now to where if you're feeling upset, you can bring your dog with you into restaurants. And man, I used to work with animals. I even did like cruelty investigation as a kid, and I've seen some fucked up things. I'll tell you what, there's some seriously fucked up evil people out there, but the vast majority of animals that find homes, dude, I'm jealous of their lives. Like, I want to chill. I work a lot, and there's like no guaranteed bowl of food and water. Like, I got to go get that.
Yeah, I want somebody to bring my food for me or make it for me, clean up my poop after I, leave it wherever the hell I want. I can pee on anything I want. It's crazy, living the life. That reminds me of something. I was actually thinking about this the other day. I don't know why. When I was in middle school, I lived in Florida, and I remember like we had one of those bus stops where there'd be like 30 kids. And I would probably like 3 or 4 times over the course of 2 years, I'd say, found like dead dogs wrapped up in carpet, and somebody would like throw them in the woods, like animal cruelty, and they would burn out. Like you'd find out like they would be burned out with cigarettes or cigars or something. Like their eyes would be burned up, and it was like, it was disgusting, and it would happen like pretty frequently, maybe a couple times a year or so.
Dude.
Ugh.
Yeah, that stuff's like way too common. Like this one thing when I want to say 15 or 16, my mom was the head of the local SPCA. Like that's her whole career thing.
Yeah.
So I, of course, got tasked with working for my mom. Like I'd have school, then I'd have to go work, manage an animal shelter, clean up after like 100 dogs and cats and shit. And one of the things I had to go out on a neglect or a cruelty investigation, fucking West Texas. Apparently, it was this trailer out in the middle of nowhere. The one time was way cooler. These people had fucking, what are those, the white tigers?
Yeah.
Huge. And this huge, like, octagon-looking enclosure out in the middle of nowhere, which apparently is just fine to have in the county in Texas.
Yeah.
Or it was back in, like, 1999 or whatever, which is fucking insane. That wasn't cruelty. That was just the neighbors being afraid.
Yeah, but that's back when they had Walker Texas Ranger, too. So if anything went south, he could just come clean it up. Now that he's gone,
dude,
it's tough. Times are tough.
These things were sofa size. It was fucking nuts. You walked up to it and you're like, well, what job could I possibly do for this? But they were fine. But another episode which sucked, man. It was domestic violence type deal. The husband beat the wife or fiance damn near to death. Takes the stroller with the baby, like newborn, and tosses it off.
God.
So I get there, like there was the chalk outline of like where it landed. It didn't make it. The girl was taken to critical, and then they took her to like the battered women's shelter. My job was to go and get this mama dog out from underneath this trailer where it was like 110 degrees with all the puppies and stuff. Just getting there as the news vans were getting there, as the sheriff's department was getting there. It was fucking horrible, man. Just like family members, people crying, like, and this dude just, takes off. It just burns off. Like he literally like kills us. He pulls a Chris Benoit basically. So like that type of thing. So when you're saying you saw those things like the dogs wrapped up, and dude, I've seen some horrible things, man. It freaks you out what people are fucking capable of. Like what happened to where like that's, hey, let's go do this.
Yeah. How did we get to this point?
I don't know. We're talking about like jerking off sea urchins on the Jackass movie. We got very, very dark.
Way off topic there.
So I think we've just had a very, colorful collection of life experiences from Santeria, right?
Yeah.
Not the Sublime song.
I don't practice Santeria, by the way.
I don't got no crystal ball, dude. We just got way 90s lame there. But
I've been listening to that lately, actually, which is kind of strange. But
what happened? Didn't Sublime come back and have a different, like Rome? It was a different lead singer?
They had a different guy. Yeah, I don't know. What's it? There's like Rage Against the Machine and another group have kind of joined together. They've joined forces.
Oh.
They've amalgamated. It's Rage Against the Machine and like what's the other group? Public Enemy.
Really?
Maybe.
Really?
Something like that.
I could see Rage doing like Beastie Boys or Onyx or something.
Yeah, I can't remember. Right. Yeah, maybe it's Public Enemy. Yeah, I think it's like Rage with Chuck D. As the lead singer. Maybe I'm wrong.
So
maybe I'm just combining stuff. Maybe it's ICP. Maybe I'm like way just off topic. Which actually they're gonna be here April 1st. I think.
Is Willie Mack coming?
I think he lives here actually.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, from what I know. I mean, I've never seen him out and around, but
guy's cool. You've seen him work? You saw him work at the show just.
Yeah. Man. I've seen him work plenty of times because he works these shows, pretty frequently. If he's in town, I think he's always on them.
Cool, dude. I'm a fan. Like I knew him back. I want to say 4 or 5 years ago. I was over at Pro Wrestling Revolution, like going through. We only had a Lucha Libre school.
Yeah.
APW was like an hour and a half away, and it wasn't happening. Just was not happening. So with jiu-jitsu, full-time gig or whatever. So I go there and I'm like, I'm gonna learn how to be a pro wrestler, and took a lot of bumps, and you have to learn how to work left and work right.
Yeah,
which is to the majority of people out there. So Tom's got probably a big pro wrestling following now because you had the filthy. What was it called? The filthy what podcast with the end?
With you talking about the FRB?
Yeah, from O'Brien.
Yeah, so we had the filthy FRB show for a little bit.
Yep.
That was more MMA stuff, and now I work for WrestlingObserver.com, Figure4Online.com with Brian Alvarez. We do Filthy 4 Daily, which is kind of a spin-off of his Figure 4 Daily show, which he's had for like 10 plus years. So I get my full fix of pro wrestling. So I've got some fans from that and of course some MMA fans that I'm trying to get to carry over into pro wrestling as I take this little hiatus from MMA.
Man, so were you, even before you were active or training for either, were you a pro wrestling fan first or an MMA fan first?
Yeah, so when I was like a little kid, I remember, I was always a pro wrestling fan as far back as I can remember. I'd be at my grandparents' house and I'd watch, I can't even remember. I can't find out what it is. I don't know if it was like Global Wrestling Federation or USWA. It was on ESPN, so ESPN aired both.
AWA though,
so it wasn't. I know it wasn't AWA.
It would have been a little
slower.
It was
a lot of Jerry Lawler and Jeff Jarrett. So
old Memphis. Huh?
Yeah, so I think that was GWF and USWA, but good, maybe not. But I would watch that at my grandmother's house. I would never miss WCW Saturday Night. I would just every single thing I could find, I was watching it. So and then when the UFC started, I saw UFC 2 on tape, like probably within a week after it aired.
Sure.
And then I watched every UFC that I could find after that. So I was ordering, when I was in high school, I was like ordering tapes from Japan, Rings tapes, the early Pride. So I had like the Rings King of Kings tournament, the first one where Dan Henderson won. It was I think it was either 64 or 32 man tournament, a huge tournament. Number of guys. It was an awesome tournament. Like Jeremy Horn was in it.
Nice.
There's a litany of guys that were in that. So, I was always a big fan of both, really. And then Pride was, kind of like the pinnacle of the whole experience for me. And you had, guys still coming in from different styles, but it was also mixed martial arts kind of like becoming a style of its own. So it was, a perfect like melting pot of everything. And after that kind of died, it kind of, I don't know, lost steam a little bit, but, pro wrestling also kind of took a downturn, around that same time. So MMA started getting more popular towards the end of the early 2000s and stuff. So I kind of jumped in and went on that wave instead, I guess.
I hear you. We had a conversation the other day at the Future Stars of Wrestling show here in Vegas. First of all, like Samstown, that's an awesome pro wrestling venue.
Yeah.
I never would have guessed that. It was cool, right? It had that. It was perfect for TV. Doing the TV tapings, but also just good acoustics. It had their, real dedicated fans. I saw a lot of the same people at the ROH shows because there was the 15th anniversary show, followed by that Saturday show with Bully Ray and the Hardys, and then you had the show where you were doing commentary, FSW, and man, we were having a conversation there about a similar train of thought. My sort of background was like, I was a pro wrestling fan since I was a little kid as well. And I remember watching the first couple things were just old school WWF because I grew up in Toms River in New Jersey. So we would go to MSG and like, we found once I saw it on TV, I started like getting hooked. I started getting the LJN or whatever the
figures.
Yeah, I saw
the bendy ones or like because they were the ones that didn't really move, right? Like
so there was the big ones. There was the smaller like the 5 or 6 inch ones that were also stiff rubber. Then there was the thumb wrestlers.
5 or 6 inches of stiff rubber sounds.
Hey, we're in Vegas.
It's a perfect
man.
description of me.
We're in Vegas, man. It's all good. So they had the thumb wrestler ones
Closer
too.
To 5, but.
It's like the metric system, the U.S. thing. And do you measure from the base or from the back or the front? Who knows? Or water displacement, they're doing that now. Who knows? So UWF was where I was going before because that's where I believe Ken Shamrock was when he was working as a pro wrestler. I think his first thing was UWF.
I remember the conversation now.
Yeah.
Okay. However, there was you're not speaking about UWFI. You're talking about UWF.
Old school UWF.
Okay.
Where they had like they were hardcore kind of a little before hardcore was hardcore. Like
there was you're talking about the one in the U.S.
This is I think Japan.
Okay. So there was also you'd have to look up Pro Wrestling Fujiwara Gumi, which that could I don't know which one was first or maybe they're even like contemporaries, but I think maybe he wrestled for them as well, but could have been UWF. I know I don't think it was UWFI. I don't think he ever competed there.
I know that's not where I remember seeing the name.
Yeah.
And just having like little clips of tapes. We traded the like scanned or faxed copies of the sheets or whatever. There'd be like someone would just like clip off stuff, photocopy in school. We had tapes, and then I remember seeing the name Ken Shamrock and reading about him in like old copies of The Wrestler or like Pro Wrestling Illustrated. Remember you'd have the rankings in the back. It would be like who's the and I would get confused because they're like number 2 Kurt Hennig and I'm like what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
I thought the Intercontinental Champion was Mr. Perfect. Like I didn't know the names.
Or they have so it'd be like they'd have the rankings of the different federations in the back. It'd be like UWSA champion Jerry Lawler, number 1 contender Jeff Jarrett, number 3 Flash Flanagan. I'm like, who the fuck is that guy? Never heard of him. Come on, I'm like 10 years old. Like I don't know who fuck Flash Flanagan is.
Number 3, oh man. And you're telling me, and it was weird because I would see, I don't know if it was like USWA shows or like another local promotion, like not that they were regional, they were a territory.
Which are kind of coming back now, which is bizarre. They're coming back in a different way. Which hey, I'm all for it because if there's clearly a market for this kind of like hardcore regional wrestling. So
and honestly,
going with it.
The ones that make it to the top, I mean, they're going to be NXT or Japan's going to. So now Japan's coming to the United States. Like
yep, New Japan. Yep.
They're taking things personally. Like the Bullet Club acquisition seems to be like it's being met with a little bit of resistance, a little bit of hostility back. So them coming to tour here in the United States. I mean, they're successful in Japan and they have a cult following. I know like their streaming platform is like you can go and pay. There's a lot of
New Japan World.
It's
pretty awesome.
Is it in English yet though?
No, but I mean it's very easy. I mean the website I believe has like an English portion of the website, but it's broken English, which is charming in its own way, in a lot of ways, really. So I have a subscription. It's awesome.
Can you do it like at WWE Network? You could have it on the little TV boxes like the Rokus and stuff.
No, you can get it. You could just like AirPlay it though.
Okay.
So that's easy to do. I have a subscription to that. I have WWE Network. I have Flow Slam.
Okay.
So I have all those. I mean, the network is easily the one that I use the most. And then, I cherry pick stuff from New Japan and I cherry pick stuff from Flow Slam. But, Daily Motion and YouTube are also big time still.
YouTube, I just get bummed when somebody, like, how they'll do things to where the videos don't get flagged for copyright. So they'll mirror it and then they'll change the pitch of the voice.
Yeah.
I remember why.
Can't handle it.
No, the minute I hear JR the King's voice being the wrong voice or Taz's voice being high pitched because they're trying to, get away from copyright, I'm like, we're done. Because that soundtrack to me is not, I'd say it's not quite as important, but like it's up there. Hearing Jim Ross or like an old school match of Bobby the Brain Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon, if you fuck with their voices, I'm out. Yeah. I am for sure out. Like Gorilla Monsoon was a big part of my growing up. It was a big part of my childhood, man. Like those two going back and forth. I still believe that Bobby the Brain Heenan could have been like, he would have made it anywhere in show business if he didn't do wrestling.
Yeah, he was so quick-witted, like unbelievable. What is it? Is it off the cusp? Off the cuff?
Off the cuff?
It's off the cuff.
It's off the cuff, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he was great. Off the cuff.
Off the cuff.
He was on the cusp of being great. He was above the cusp. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
I think in terms of just greatest of all, it's crazy because in terms of he was a solid worker. He's not in his.
Yeah, you know what? I've never seen him wrestle. It's crazy. I've never seen it. Was he did some work with like Ray Stevens or is that right?
And then he wound up, by the time he was in AWA, he was managing Nick Bockwinkel and stuff. So he was already kind of winding down. Like he was before that era. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like of where you'd be actively looking for that stuff because there's so much awesome content between like the 80s and now, and everything's just getting better and better. Yeah. Like it's cool to see the guys that are true, like they really have a passion for the business that are making it now, as opposed to like kind of the machine back guys. Mm-hmm. And that sounds kind of like a Mark thing to say, but at the same time,
it is a Mark thing to say.
But at the same time, man, like just seeing the guys that have that appreciation for the technical work, right? Yeah. The guys that would have been in like the Intercontinental picture as opposed to the world title picture back in the day.
Yeah, I understand. But, there's also a lot of people that bitch and complain about the titles getting thrown around back and forth too quickly. So, it's a double-edged sword. You give more of these guys opportunities to, I guess, run with the ball, maybe that don't fit the mold, but at the same time, you end up hot shot in the title. It goes back and forth. Guys get short runs with it. So, but I don't know.
Honestly, if you look at what the UFC is doing right now, there's a little bit of parallel there too.
On. UFC, what is going on?
There are parallels, man.
What's going on there? Tell me what's going on, please. If you have any inside info, let me know because my mind is blown.
Interim.
Vitor Belfort today is talking about that he wants to face CM Punk. He wants a retirement fund, and that's who he wants to fight. He wants to fight CM Punk, and it's like
I'll fight him.
Let's
all go fight CM Punk.
At this point, they might as well just make that fight. Let's give up the farce that it's a sporting contest. It's pro wrestling. It's shoot pro wrestling, and that's all that it is.
And this isn't because it's of what you're saying directly, but I still believe that the most successful pro wrestling promotion in the world right now is the UFC.
Oh yeah, it's not even questionable. I mean. I guess it goes by how you define success because, WWE still is bringing in, they're having events with 80,000 people walking through the door. UFC's not doing that, and I don't think that they can do that at this point. So I guess it depends on how you define success. But if you're talking about, bringing in the dollars, then UFC's the one that's doing it, right?
I'd say in terms of mainstream sort of popularity or steam, I'd say yes. In terms of maybe revenue, global brand, all that sort of thing, in the short term, maybe the UFC. But I figure like for the bigger picture, like I think the WWE they're projecting, whereas like I feel like in MMA in general, like they're always looking at the short term. Like
well, here's one thing I think with the UFC right now, if I look at some of the moves that they're making, I think what they're trying to do is kind of consolidate into the Western market, Europe and the U.S., Canada, and Mexico and Brazil, and try to focus on that instead of expanding like they had been in the past few years. So along with that comes with like some of the cuts that they've made. They've cut some of the Japanese fighters. Some of their most talented Japanese fighters are gone now. Some of the most talented Eastern European fighters that they have are gone. If you're not some sort of name, then it's very easy for them to put you on the back burner. And like if you look at tomorrow, they have a show coming up, and it's Corey Anderson versus Jimmy Manoa in the main event. It's a Fight Pass show, so they don't have to put on a big barn burner of a card to draw in the fans. It's in Europe, but like the co-main event is Gunnar Nelson, who's arguably could be one of the top guys at 170, and he's taking on Alan Jouban, who's good, but he's more of like a name because he's a model. He's marketable because of that. So I think you're going to see more of that out of this new UFC, whereas guys just getting fights that they can promote. And, it's not necessarily even the worst thing for the sport as long as, or the worst thing for MMA, as long as they just don't pretend that it's a sport. That's kind of what bothers me with the whole thing.
I don't get the idea of actually going on to these shows and saying rank number 2 is going against rank number 7 or rank number 10 when those rankings aren't used. Like it's like you in jiu-jitsu, which is totally different, but the idea like when you go through IBJJF, you get a certain number of points per tournament you win, blah, blah, blah. But those points aren't used for anything. There's no seeding. Anybody can just go to Worlds and compete. Yeah. So in kind of parallel with the UFC, if you have these rankings and you're not really coveting, first of all, you're not really coveting the title because you're doing interim belts all the time. And then you're not really giving the number 2 guy the number 1 money or the number 2 money. You're just sort of saying like star, belt, and everything becomes a prop.
Yeah, but okay, which honestly, it doesn't bother me either way. But the fighters have to know which way to go with it, Like if you just want the most entertaining fighters that are out there, then fighters can fight and go balls to the wall and care less about a loss. Like, back in Pride in 2000, 2001, or you have to present it as a sport and you're going to have guys trying to lay and pray and get the win any way imaginable. So, I think both ways have their advantages and disadvantages, but it's as a fighter, you just have to know which way to go to be able to market yourself. Should I spend my time trying to be the biggest star that I can outside of fighting or cross-platform as I can to try to get the most viewers and the most money? Or should I try to be the best fighter that I can and spend some of those extra hours on technique in order to do that? It's tough to kind of
I feel like
figure that out.
I feel like we both know the answer is yes to both, right? It's 2017, and if you're not out there building that brand, if you're not out there hustling, if you're not out there outworking literally everybody else at everything, and having the team around and having the foresight to be able to say, okay, this is show business. If it wasn't, we'd be outside doing this thing for $10 an hour and no one would know. Yeah, but it is show business.
But to kind of like go along with the point I was trying to make earlier is like Alan Jouban, right? When Zuffa was a controlled Fertitas, I don't think he was within sniffing distance of a co-main event. Sure. Now that we have different ownership and it's like, hey, this guy's a model. That's a pretty cool story. I know who he is because of that. Sure. And they're taking advantage of it. So, I think there's a lot of benefits to it.
I think so. And I think there even is a place in the business and in the promotion for it. I just feel like if you're going to bother having titles at all, telling those stories is important just as much as the model thing, or telling the story of CM Punk with his pro wrestling thing wanting to get in. I mean, there's a way to do this without devaluing your titles or without.
Yeah. Okay. So what do you think about Dan Henderson getting that title shot against Bisping? Because realistically, what was Dan Henderson like, ranked number 13 or something ridiculous, and he's getting a title shot. But hell, that fight was awesome to watch. If they wouldn't have given him that based on his ranking, we would have been robbed of a really exciting fight, and we never would have had it. So it's a double-edged sword. It always is in MMA. What's the fucking deal with this sport?
It's and it's not or. Yeah. A lot of things are and and not or. Because yes to all of it, right? Yeah, it's show business. Yeah, you got to be the best in the world. You're on TV, and that's it. And yeah, everybody should be paid more money. And yes, the model dude should be able to tell his story. But how the fuck do you do all of that? It's a balancing act. That's why Dana White is stuck with this, having the Serena and what's her name Williams telling that's their boss now, right?
Well, kind of, yeah. I guess like somebody broke down the shares or something.
They own like 13% or 14%.
But I don't think they're coming into the board meeting and barking orders at Dana.
Like Jim Cornette with the tennis racket.
Yeah, I doubt it.
I think Jim Cornette should run everything just because he's funny. I just like him yelling. I like how pissed
We'd
he
have no
gets.
more Young Bucks, man. Or they'd be jobbing out left and right.
I don't
No
agree
more
with
Young
it all. It's just funny. I enjoy that he goes on those rants. He's quick as shit. Just some of the stuff that he just rolls off of his tongue. I'm like, where did he come up with that? And why is he so mad? I love the guy, but yeah, no, the Young Bucks are awesome.
Yeah.
Who's the Kenny Omega's tremendous.
Yeah.
What was the match, the 6-star, the Meltzer match of the year, the 6-star match?
Okada and Omega.
Ricochet, was it Ricochet?
No, Okada and Omega.
At Wrestle
Okada
Kingdom
Omega,
12, right?
Whatever. It was the one that was like 2 months ago.
Yes.
So,
that was very entertaining. It was different. It was,
yeah, though, I don't know if it was the best match I've ever seen.
calling it 6 stars kind of was annoying. I don't think it should have been 6 stars, but it was cool.
Yeah.
Well,
Here's the thing. It's all based on one guy's opinion. So people get all bent out of shape on this shit. Like, oh, my God, he gave it 6 stars. It's like, well, I mean, it's one guy's opinion. He wasn't taking a poll. What do you think going into it? I mean, he's a journalist, but at the same time, you know what you're getting out of this star rating.
Yeah.
People get all bent out of shape about it. Like, come on.
I think because some early precedents were set, where you're okay, look at Steamboat and then Savage and then look at Hart and Hennig and then look at these other matches that he puts up there. And I think he gave Cena 2 5-star matches over the last year with AJ Styles, right?
No, I don't think so.
Were they 4?
I think it was very close because I think the last WWE one might have been Punk and Cena. I think that was the last one. There may have been one, within this past year because sometimes I forget how good AJ Styles has been over the past year.
He's torn it up. Yeah. I mean, I think in terms of overall products since about when CM Punk showed up. Remember when he left the company and then you had Rey Mysterio, the little tournament where Rey Mysterio dropped the WWE title to John Cena and then CM Punk came out. And
2 weeks later, he came back to reclaim the title that he abandoned. It's like, come on.
He has it in the refrigerator.
He can't even go out for a month or something at least.
I felt that storyline where they faced off in the middle of the ring, even though it was expedited because TVs and blah, blah, whatever, that was a turning point in wrestling where stuff kind of got cool. When, you know what I mean?
It was a couple weeks before when he did the promo, the pipe bomb.
Pipe bomb.
A bunch. But I did enjoy him jobbing out to Kevin Nash. So
I love Nash.
Yeah, Nash is the man.
I met Kevin Nash 2 hours before the first time I met you. And then when you left that bar, the guys from WrestleZone came in. Who was it? Justin, Josh Eisenberg.
What? Hold on, because I left at 2 a.m. I think, or God.
You left a little earlier. You actually left at about 12.
I have no clue.
These guys come stumbling in their suits and shit, and I was like, that's fucking Josh Eisenberg. Why are you here? And I was like, oh, Mania, whatever.
I went stumbling in probably these same shorts and T-shirt.
Probably. We were at the Kevin Nash fucking Hall of Fame party by accident. I have no idea. I look over and this guy the size of a doorway walks in. I'm like, that's Kevin Nash, fucking Bay Area. We were just, my buddy was bartending over there. I was like, all right, this is fucking weird.
Yeah.
But saw Carlito was there. Dude's way bigger than I thought he'd be.
All those dudes. I mean, I'm not gonna say all the guys, but there are a lot of these guys who are bigger. Especially when you see them on the indie scene. They're twice the size of some of the guys on the indies. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, way bigger.
Yeah.
The one dude in the indies that's as big as he looks is Cage, though. Brian Cage.
Oh, what about Keith Lee? 400-pound dude. He was huge too. He was bigger than I thought.
That's a big fellow.
He was really big. Cage is gigantic as well.
He is.
Too. That crowd. I'm not gonna say anything about myself, but they loved Melissa Santos too.
Oh yeah, they were fans.
She made sure to name drop Cage a few times, making sure some of the guys in the crowd were probably creeping on her.
Is that so? Have you seen him in that one? There's not an independent movie, but it's kind of a low budget indie movie. Mm-hmm. He plays He-Man.
Oh, Cage does. He probably makes a pretty good He-Man, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, you should see it.
Yeah,
it's pretty.
I'll have to check it out. Then.
Yeah, I was like, that can't be him. And then they play. If it's a different Brian Cage, then this man is also very similarly buff and shit. And,
it could be. You never know.
And yeah, it's a very low budget movie.
2017. A lot of dudes are on paleo diet and lifting weights, doing CrossFit, so they get
all those gluten.
They get big,
guys. It's all that gluten. It's been the gluten the whole time. I don't know. That guy was always cool to me.
He's a beast, man.
Oh, him, and he was in the Border Patrol.
Yeah. I remember you saying that.
Have you seen those like videos of those guys doing that?
Yeah.
Oh man, so it was Derek Sanders, him, and
who's this guy that he has beef with now too? There's like some guy that stole his gimmick in his pro-Trump gimmick in Mexico. This guy got like some publicity, and it turns out he like jacked Cage's gimmick from like a while back.
I don't know, but I've seen that like some Trump stuff advertised at lucha shows over the last couple of years, or year anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know the next show I'm going to is like APW. There's one on the 25th, I think.
Yeah, you were saying there's like a super show, the Cow Palace.
Yeah, with like
right?
I think X-Pac's on it or something.
Yeah. Well, I believe I'm supposed to wrestle here at the Silverton in a few weeks, and then after that, 2 weeks after that, I'm supposed to wrestle Davey Richards.
Cool.
In Eastern Oregon. So, or fight Davey Richards. So, we'll
cool.
see how that goes. I'm pretty pumped up about that. But
is he still tagged up with?
Him and Eddie Edwards just had a split.
Oh, so that like that's like the thing I was mentioning. I was trying to get to earlier is like I remember when Bob Backlund was like mega heel when he like just went over Bret Hart to be champion. When he came back and he was super heel.
Yeah.
He was like the people's champ in like USWA at the same time. He was like super baby face. They're like all the little kids running up made him a paper belt and everything. So it's funny. Like, does their split carry over to?
Yeah, I believe so. I don't know that they were tagging on the indie scene anyways. I think it was just kind of like they were together in ROH and then they came over in TNA because I think they live like completely opposite ends of the world. Essentially, like Eddie Edwards is a Boston guy and Dave Richards is like a Seattle area guy. So I think they might be in those separate areas still. So I don't know.
What do you think, Christopher Daniels?
I haven't watched any of that stuff.
You haven't seen that ROH episode?
I haven't watched any of that stuff. I haven't watched ROH in like probably 3 or 4 months, maybe even longer than that, because it's weird. They were going through like a transitionary period where they're losing guys, and they hadn't like picked up some of these new guys yet, so the product was kind of, I don't know, I guess getting stale to me. Now with like the Hardys coming in, even if it's for the short term, and Bully Ray, it's like completely unexpected, so it changes the whole dynamic. So now I'm excited about it. I just haven't had a chance to watch the anniversary show or the stuff the day after. One of my boys is in the Top Prospect tournament.
Oh,
Josh
really?
Woods, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so.
Why does it sound familiar?
I don't know.
Did he wrestle at other promotions before?
He was in NXT for a bit. Right. I think he had like one match on TV where he got bulldozed by somebody, but might have been No Way Jose. I think he got squashed by No Way Jose in one match.
That's tremendous.
Yeah, that's his big claim to fame.
I think my buddy was supposed to be the ring announcer for Alberto Del Rio in WWE, but they picked Ricardo Rodriguez instead. Yeah. Which that's got to be a bummer.
Ricardo Rodriguez was at Combates America as the ring announcer in New York. I don't know if he's doing all the shows or what the deal is. So he's like still linked up with Del Rio because Del Rio and Paige were there too.
Oh, okay.
Paige in the news.
Wow. So you just told me about this. That's a real thing.
Yeah. It's all over the internet.
When did this actually drop?
I guess today.
So today in pro wrestling news, WWE, she's still a WWE Superstar?
Yeah.
WWE Superstar, who's been out for, I guess, a number of months now on wellness violations, that they're subsequently also making.
I think she's just injured.
Was like because so she would say injured, but they would report that it was like a
she had
wellness thing.
There was a wellness violation.
Okay.
And then she's also injured because she had neck surgery, but it was kind of like I guess against their the initial recommendation.
Oh,
I don't know exactly.
So their doctor.
I'm not gonna pretend like I know the story. Like,
okay.
Off the top of my head, but I do know that there's some video of her floating around now. It's a very interesting and provocative video, which I have viewed. I may give a review on it on the podcast.
All right, so
a blow-by-blow review.
Touche.
Yeah.
Touche. So this Paige, and they're making a movie about her too, right?
Yeah, she's going to be a lot bigger star soon because The Rock is making a movie about her and her family. So it's like anything backed by him blows up. So she's going to be an even bigger star, and I'm sure that, hell, that's how the Kardashians got famous, right?
Yeah, but that video is terrible.
She slept with Ray J. Ray J was famous because he was that other chick's brother.
But that
Who's the other singer? Ray J's sister was a bigger name than he was.
yes. And then I guess she was friends with Paris Hilton. Then her father or stepfather was like a famous lawyer, attorney, or something like that.
He was OJ's one of OJ's attorneys.
It was on Furman's Robert
Kardashian.
So Paige, who is in the WWE, she's out for a while. They're making a movie about her. She's from this famous wrestling family in the UK, and she's also in some videos that have leaked.
Yeah, I think somebody, I don't know if she got hacked or something. There's all that celebrity phone hacking. Yeah, the fappening. I don't know if that's what went on there again, or if like somebody leaked the videos. But I mean, they're out there. They're grab your Jergens and get to viewing, I guess.
Oh, how bad? Like, is it a full thing or clips?
I just saw clips. I haven't found a unoccupied bathroom to go into yet, so holding off.
I don't know. It's man, what's his name? Alberto Del Rio's got to be pissed. Like, he's been in trouble a couple times now for.
I think he's just like always pissed.
Yeah, he's
seems
like
to be his gimmick, right?
He's like fighting his brother. He fought somebody
Yeah, right.
backstage in catering.
Then him and his brother fought somebody. He was like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Yeah, and it didn't like he got jumped in Mexico, or there was a stabbing or something.
He fought. Nobody knows the story on that. He like no showed Triple A's show, and the story was that he had gotten stabbed in like a fight in the street, and then he also he got into a fight with his brother at a show. I think he put him in the hospital or something, and then he got into a fight with another guy who was the Extreme Turtle Raphael or something like that. Like he had like a Ninja Turtle gimmick. He got into a fight with him backstage or something. Maybe that's who he put in the hospital. I don't know. So maybe nobody went to the hospital. Maybe they all just went to jail. Maybe I'm misinformed here.
So this was the Mexico pro wrestling version of Ninja Turtles guy.
Correct. Yeah.
That he got in a fight with, and it was over AJ somehow. Like, I think there was the Ninja Turtle made a pass at AJ.
Or a Paige.
Yeah, Paige.
Yeah. I have no clue.
Yeah. That's a thing.
I probably would.
Wow.
Are we supposed to have like a serious conversation on here about non-pro wrestling or no?
Why would we do that?
Okay, I'm just making sure.
We can do literally anything we want.
I'm just making sure.
Oh man, gotta get Kyle in wrestling.
He'd fit. I don't think it's gonna happen.
You won't do it.
I've tried it a few times. I brought him to the Ring of Honor show that weekend, that WrestleMania weekend. And he was like in the back, like Jushin Liger's out there texting, or Jushin Liger's out there like wrestling. And Kyle's like texting, like in the back. It's like Liger versus Jay Lethal, and I'm over there with like my hand down my pants, like eyes bugging out of my head, like I'm the bad guy in Roger Rabbit, and he's over there just like texting somebody about like putting butter into soup or something, you know.
Yeah, that's
he's like, oh, Kerrygold. We need more of that.
You were like watching, like, dude, Liger bomb. Yeah. He's like, no butter.
Shote, look at that. Oh my God.
He's like fucking telling Super Cullo about MCT oil or something. They're like, okay.
Yeah. Or he's just whipping out pills out of the fanny pack. Hey, brother. What do you got in there, brother?
He'd fit in, but it's like all organic stuff. So it's like they just look at him like,
well, what's that? Ginkgo biloba. Is that going to help me? No. I need some of the horny goat weed if he has any of that.
I just remember.
You ever tried any of those those bullshit pills?
Which ones?
Well, I tried this stuff called Jacky Lloyd. And
oh no.
No, it's legit.
No, I know. I got an Jacky Lloyd story.
Oh, you've had some?
I haven't had some, but carry on. I do have a story about a Jacky Lloyd.
No, I just had it for a while. And I just heard people would always ask me, like,
does it increase load?
They would be does it work? And I would be like, well, the test subject has experienced increased blood flow to the genitalia. You know, I don't know. I don't know if it worked. I think so. It worked more than I just took this other stuff called, what was it? Big Bang. That's no good. Go with the Jacky Lloyd. Made out of 100% pure Jacky Lloyd. That's the ingredients.
I just remember like 12 years ago, like leaving my day job, right? It was me and my one coworker, dude, this British guy. We walk by like the one dude he's got his bicycle shorts on. Like, this is a very gay fellow, and he's like, you know, he's
This
like,
is the guy that you worked with.
this is a third coworker.
Okay,
we're like
okay.
walking. We're about to walk. He's like, all right, man, see you later. And he's like shaking this bottle of pills, about to take some. And the British guy's like, what you got there then? He's like, come on, share. What you got there? And he's like, no, they're just vitamins. You don't want any of these. So trying to put him back in his like the whole bag thing, his laptop bag. He's like, no, out with it, mate, out with it. He's like, they're supposed to boost testosterone. He busts out Jacky Lloyd, like this big man-sized thing of Jacky Lloyd. And dude, I'm still, part of me is still back there laughing at that. I was so
now you know, so it's legit, man. That stuff's everywhere. Jacky Lloyd is flying off the shelves.
This is a real product.
I remember I had to. I was on like the GNC website. I think that's where I bought it, and because God forbid I get it shipped to myself, you know, I had to go buy it in person. So I was like on the thing, and I'm like, I'm on the website trying to see if it's in stock at the local store, and it's like I can't really tell. So then the thing pops up like, "Hi, do you want to chat to Mario?" And it's like, you know, it's a picture of some Indian guy with like a headdress on. I'm like, I don't think that guy's name's Mario, but whatever, I'll talk to him. So I talked to him a little bit. It's like, what can I help you with? Well, I'm wondering if you have any Jacky Lloyd at this store. Oh yeah, we have 7 bottles left. I'm like, all right, I'll be there. I'm on my way. Let me get that Jacky Lloyd. I was doing a lot of internet dating at the time, so.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What's the Rhinos are the thing now, right? The Rhino pills.
Oh, I don't know.
You haven't heard of Rhino pills?
No, that sounds like ecstasy or something.
No. These are like gas station versions of Cialis, Viagra.
Really? No.
But they have proprietary blend in them. They have the actual shit in them. And whenever the FDA finds out, they just make another one. They call it something else. They're like $10-15. Allegedly, they work really fucking well.
Oh,
Allegedly.
Yeah.
I've heard.
I'll have to see if I can find somebody to run a test, perhaps on the way home. There's a lot of shady gas stations in between here and where I live in Vegas, which is only like a few miles.
Yeah, that's all of them. Each and every one of them.
All the gas stations.
They're like,
I mean, they're named Terribles, for God's sake.
Yeah, Terribles has everything.
I love Terribles, actually. It's my favorite.
We have a new thing in Bay Area called the Loop.
Yeah.
They have almost everything you can imagine in a gas station.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you've been to Wawa.
Yes.
Right? I mean, Wawa is amazing. Damn shame it's not out here on this side of the world. They have them in Orlando now. Which
do they?
I used to live there. Of course, I lived there for 10 years, and they did not have Wawa. And I left, and they get Wawa. They get some other stuff, too. The NXT Performance Center.
there's just that.
Went there after I left. You know, a lot of things.
Yeah, it was FCW.
They're all just waiting for me to get out of there. Then it was like, Wawa was like, Lawler's gone. We're going in. It's
Exactly.
time. We can't have this guy eating our chicken cheesesteaks.
He's like, get the buttered rolls.
Oh, man, I'm a fan of the subs.
The subs are fucking amazing there.
What is it? Turkey sausage and cheddar bagel.
Yep.
Egg white, turkey sausage, cheddar bagel. Yeah, that's another favorite of mine.
In the New Jersey ones, they have pork roll.
Oh, yeah.
Like Taylor ham.
Yeah.
It's fucking tremendous. Like, it doesn't make sense if you, I don't know, if you haven't had it there. They might have it in Delaware or something too. And it's the worst breakfast meat ever. It's like the worst thing you could possibly eat, probably. It might be good now. I don't know. Things tend to go full circle. Like, you know what I'm saying?
It's
like,
just full of fat, so it's like, oh, I'm in ketosis. I'll eat that. Yeah.
It's just parts of stuff. I don't even know what the fuck I'm eating, but it's delicious.
I don't really care,
It's,
to be honest.
Yeah, we're chugging fucking Coke Zeros here.
I think, Philadelphia gets a pretty bad reputation, but I think it's like the best food city I may have been to. I like it better than New York. I mean, I'm sure there's more choices in New York, but Philadelphia is a little bit more condensed. It's easier to navigate. There's some damn good food there.
There is. There's really, really good food there. I feel like there's a big component of New York food that's too knowledgeable or too pretentious for me, for my tastes.
Yeah.
I just want food.
Philly's still shitty enough. The pretentious places are they're there, but they're not as prevalent, I guess.
Yeah, there's I think we had this place in my town, like Rivoli's, where it was like an Italian place, but you get this like,
You don't say.
exactly. You'd get
It was a Mediterranean joint.
Oh yeah, it's like that Chinese food place down the road in Toms River, New Jersey.
Yeah, that was a better choice.
So it was like it would be like a turkey, like Thanksgiving tray size, like plate. Just for that was your portion. You like, I like chicken parmesan. They're like, all right. They'd come back with like it's like 3 chickens.
Yeah.
Fucking this giant thing of pasta. Just like, oh fuck.
Yeah, I'm all right with that. I'm all right with that for sure. They don't have those places like they don't exist out here for the most part. Or if they do, I don't find them on Yelp, so I don't go to them. You know.
The one I like the New York pizza and pasta off of Jones and Sarah.
Okay, yeah, I'm probably not going to drive that far up.
Yeah, I used to work right there.
It's like an eternity from Southern Highlands, which is interesting because I don't know all Mayweather. I saw all the vans downstairs.
I think he's here like now
and stuff. Yeah, but he lives like here. Why would he be here? You know what I'm saying? He lives here. So why is he here?
There's no reason at all to go anywhere.
Yeah, he lives like a mile from where I live, but in like a much, 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 much nicer part.
And isn't it like technically like Enterprise, Nevada?
Out there? Or
yeah,
here?
where he lives.
I don't know, man. This city's weird. Like, I don't know what's incorporated, what's not incorporated. I don't know. It's because Las Vegas, the Strip isn't Las Vegas. It's something else, like Paradise.
That's right. It is
something, right?
Paradise,
yeah,
Nevada.
so I don't know what the hell's going on here. I just know once you get outside of those mountains, it's Pahrump. It's the only thing. And then if you go the other way, it's Boulder City. And then after that, you're pretty much screwed.
Yep.
And after the M, you're pretty much screwed.
Oh, yeah. You're done. It's where is it? There's Prim.
Yeah.
And then
Baker. You can get some alien beef jerky in Baker.
There's lots of that. Then there's Barstow.
Actually, you see, I stop in Barstow a lot because every time I go to California, that's like, 2 hours in between. That's the spot. I go to Panera Bread. They have a drive-through Panera. I've scoped it all out.
We're in Barstow or I remember like I stopped in Baker and there's one gas station where they have these big tin signs, like they have all like the Batman or Wonder Woman and like they're like street signs, but I just remember going to that gas station. Going outside is the creepiest like closed down motel ever. It's called Bun Boy, and I'm pretty sure murder happens there like a lot, and it's boarded up and shit. But you're like, this place should be burnt down like immediately, but yeah, I bought a couple of those tin signs in there.
Maybe I'll go like reopen it and just cut off the OY and make like an homage to UGK or something. Just be Bun B Hotel out in fucking Baker, California.
Yeah, man, it's
a lot of UGK fans.
Yeah, I just remember getting gas. I look over, I'm like, fucking Bun Boy, I gotta get out of here. This is not a good place.
Yeah. Those are like the places like I have to stop and take a piss, but I don't want to go in the gas station, so I stop one exit up, and somehow it's fucking creepier because there are like there's the the guy in the 18-wheeler who's kicking on the fence as I'm taking a leak, like trying to get me to look over, offering a BJ, those kind of guys.
Those.
Yeah.
Those are very specific kind of guys. This sounds like something that may or may not have.
Yeah, I know from being one of those guys.
Oh,
I know
exactly. You're like, I'm a CDL right here.
Yeah. I'm kicking the fence. Hey, buddy, come on over here. There's like what road is it here? I guess it's Dean Martin. There's like a trucker gas station with a place called Taco Time, which I don't know if you've ever been, but it's the only one. Apparently, it's like a legit chain, but it's the only one in Vegas, and it's at this trucker rest stop. But there's like a motel there, and I've just got to imagine, like, okay, truck stops are supposed to be bad for hookers, anyways, right? Now it's Las Vegas, and it's like the seediest like area, like what kind of hookers are there? Are they better quality, or are they like the lowest of the low? It could go either way.
Yeah, because I figure.
I don't want to find out. Like, I don't want to hang out and find out. So,
because you figure with Pahrump being this close, these have to be like really broke truckers or like the ones that aren't willing to. Because Pahrump's not gonna. That's not gonna be cheap if it's legal.
Yeah.
Like what does that cost?
I don't know. Probably. I don't know. I used to watch that show. What was the
Cat House?
Yeah.
That's out there. That's Pahrump.
Yeah, I know. My favorite one was there was a guy who paid like somehow this girl convinced him to pay, I don't know, $500 for mutual masturbation. They didn't even like touch each other. He sat there and jerked off in front of her, and she played with herself. The guy paid like $500.
That's not a good deal.
No, that's a terrible deal.
No, don't do that. I don't get it. The basketball player, the one that was with the Kardashian.
Oh, Lamar Odom, yeah.
Didn't he? Was it crack or what did he do?
I don't know. Yeah, probably. But he was out there with some of the hookers and like One of them was a tranny, I guess. He had like some tranny hooker, which is, hey, whatever. I thought that they were back together, but apparently
The tranny?
Lamar and the tranny got back together.
Oh, exactly.
No,
Oh.
Lamar and whatever the Kardashian was, but I don't think so. I thought like after that they got back together, but I really don't pay attention to this shit very much.
The larger of the Kardashians?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever. Who cares? Camera adds 50 pounds or something. I don't know. I've been hoping that for a while, so I don't have to take any bumps.
Oh, man.
What ain't gonna happen?
So how long you were in pro wrestling? I remember you were working for ROH for a spell.
Well, okay, so I didn't work for them, but I had a managing gig that I did for them with Red Dragon, which is
cool.
Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly. And then they had set me up again to manage them at a pay-per-view. So I think it was going to be a pretty frequent thing. And UFC put a little nix on it, told me not to do it. So I stepped back, didn't do it. And now they said it's cool. So here I am, wrestling my heart out.
There you go.
For 1/100th of what I was making fighting, at best.
Well, there's
no $50,000 bonus on the horizon at the indie shows either. There's no fight of the night. There's no match of the night bonus. There's no performance of the night. There's none of that. There's no locker room bonus.
There's no locker room bonus.
In the UFC there is sometimes, but not in indie wrestling events that I know of.
So, you have any cool road stories?
From wrestling?
From wrestling.
No, not at this point.
Not at this point?
No. I mean, the most, even back, so about 10 years ago, I did 2 years of wrestling on the indies. But back then, most of the shows were local. So it wasn't like I was going out of town and wrestling at, some cool venue and hanging out with rats and stuff afterwards. It was like, okay, I have the match, drive back home an hour, So I was kind of robbed of that a little bit, I guess. I mean, I did drive up to BFE, Georgia, and wrestle in a horse stall at some rodeo or some shit. But other than that, I guess that would be the coolest story.
An actual horse stall?
It was in the rodeo pit. Yeah,
cool.
They had a ring in the rodeo pit. And it was cool because the people were a half mile away. So you could I could yell the spot and it'd be okay, tackle, drop down, leapfrog, give me a hip toss, brother. And it'd be
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, man, you see that throw there? Ooh.
USA.
Yeah.
USA.
Yeah. It's both guys are American, you morons. But, yeah, so that, I don't know. That's, I guess, the coolest thing. I had a WWE tryout.
Cool.
Back when they had Deep South. I went up there for a week. They sent me up there and then told me to fuck off.
They told me to fuck off,
that's,
too.
That's not what they said, actually. But not so many words, Not really.
After Mania came to Bay Area, the last Tough Enough or whatever, so they reached out to me through the promotion, the Pro Wrestling Revolution or whatever. They're like, all right, we got a Skype interview for you. I was like, oh, cool. And yeah, that's it.
That was the last
They're
one.
like, cool. And then they opened it up to the public, and there's 10,000 people.
Oh, yeah.
I'm way cooler than those guys, because what came of any of those dudes?
From Tough Enough?
Yeah.
There's the one dude that won the contract, the Yeti or whatever, which I haven't seen him. And then I think that other guy, ZZ, is gone. So that could have been you.
Dude,
could have been you.
I would have been way cooler.
You couldn't.
That.
I don't know if you could beat the Yeti. I was going to try to do the voice.
I wouldn't do the voice. I'd say between then and now, I would have come up with something cooler than the fucking Yeti. I would cooler.
He hasn't had any character progression in the past year or whatever.
It doesn't work for the Yeti, the actual Yeti. The Yeti.
What about the Yeti from WCW? Remember him? He made one appearance. It was Ron Reese.
Was that the one where he was humping the dude?
Yeah, the dude. It was Hogan.
It was Hogan and Big Show, right?
Yeah.
They were doing a big.
They had him sandwiched.
That was really.
Oh my god, unbelievable! It's unbelievably awesome on so many levels.
My favorite's still Shockmaster. That's my favorite moment ever from television.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen. Did you see the weigh-in I did for that? Are you kidding? Yeah, I mean, that was one of my favorites. Somehow, so every UFC weigh-in I've ever been at or seen or anything is up on the stage, right? You come out a little curtain, you walk up 10 steps, and then you walk over in front of the scale. Somehow this one was at a nightclub, and they had a backstage area with a curtain And no joke, there was like a fucking lip. Like you had to step up on stage just like the Shockmaster. Like it was unbelievable. I don't know if this was like divine intervention, whatever. But so, I mean, it was like a perfect setup for it. So I did it, and then like 4 or 5 people grabbed me like before I got backstage and were just dying, dying unbelievable. Most of the people had no clue what was going on. Like, what the fuck was this guy? He tripped. There's a lot of people on Twitter and like message boards like, look at this idiot was trying to do something. He tripped, and it's like perfect. Like great. That's exactly what I wanted. Thank you.
That was the spot.
Yeah, I called that spot in the back, brother.
So I've seen some of your interviews before where you say you talk about going to the thrift shop before, just to kind of get some sort of idea what you want to do for your walkout or for your weigh-in thing. Where the fuck did you find a bedazzled stormtrooper helmet to do the shock?
Oh well, we had to make it.
Oh, you prepped this thing.
We had to make it. My jiu-jitsu coach Tim Burrell was very integral part. Integral. Whatever. Intricate. I think intricate works as well. He was a big time part in this, and he actually also helped make. I did like a Genki Sudo homage, but it was Genki Sudo as Buckethead. So Genki Sudo had dressed up as Buckethead, and then I dressed up as Genki Sudo as Buckethead, and he also made the jetpack for that. So he's a genius on many levels when it comes to these costumes.
It's pretty meta at that point.
Yeah.
It's Inception.
Yeah, exactly. It was like
Genki Sudo.
It was an entrance inside of an entrance.
That's pretty damn well planned there.
Yeah.
I mean the real. So you did Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. Okay. So for like walkouts, I've done. Let me think. I did the Who Let the Dogs Out, where I had Seth Petrozelli on a leash.
That's on a leash.
The best part. And I don't recommend anybody go back and watch it, but because it's a waste of time. But a dog bone fell out of his mouth as he was like walking down, and I mean like on the dirty Mandalay Bay floor, and like a trooper, he just picked it up and shoved it right back in his mouth. Definitely not the dirtiest bone he's ever had in his mouth, I would imagine. Yeah. What are the others? I had to mention that so I get that dig in, by the way. I'm trying to think of what the other ones were. Hulk Hogan, Living in America, the Apollo Creed one. And then there's a couple fights like sometimes if it's a fight right before television or pay-per-view, you won't even get an entrance. They'll like hold you and then just send both guys out to the cage. So I fought Patrick Cote and had no entrance, no music, nothing. And some of the other times I've just haven't done an entrance. So yeah. My favorite song that I've come out to though is the Silence of the Lambs theme. It came out to that song in Sweden, and like I did my research though because apparently that was a huge hit in Sweden. Wow. So like the crowd was like clapping like along to it, which I thought was kind of crazy. So a lot of sick fucks over there, I guess.
Yeah, they've got that one horror movie, Funny Games. It's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, it's like for a place with seemingly little crime, they have really morbid minds, I guess. I don't know, all those like Scandinavian countries.
Less sunlight, man. Depression.
Yeah, right. I guess it's pretty cool over there. I've been over there a couple times. I liked it a lot, actually.
Where'd you go?
The first place I went to was Borås, which is like a small college town, like an hour outside of Gothenburg, maybe a little bit closer. Okay. And then to Stockholm because I fought there. So
I've done Stockholm and Luleå and Boden, so they're like way the fuck up north.
Like is it like the Laplands? Is it like that area? I know that's like where the fucking reindeer and like Saint Nick are.
Oh yeah. I'm pretty sure Santa Claus is up there. He's fucking freezing.
Yeah. Well, there's only like 3 places really. It's like Stockholm, Malmo, and Gothenburg. I don't know how you say it.
The one thing I've learned about that country is no matter how much time you spend trying to say one of their words correctly, and you can really get into this as a foreigner.
It's not working.
Never. No.
You know what the coolest thing was? I don't know if you ran into it there. It was like, I'm at the nightclub, and I look over, and there's like fucking blackjack tables right there.
Really?
Yeah, like I could just play blackjack. Like, so I went out one night thinking like, all right, I'm going to go out, I'm going to party it up. And then I'm like at the blackjack table for 3 hours, playing like $4, $5 hands, you know, just like wasting my time. Like, oh, okay, I guess.
Sounds very James Bond-ish, right?
I don't know. I had a good time, I guess. Whatever.
It's cool. I always notice in every James Bond movie, like there's a casino in the club. Like, where do they go?
I think Australia is like one of the few. I think that you can do it there, maybe.
All right.
Apparently Sweden.
All right.
I guess, but I just remember seeing it in Boras. I don't remember seeing it in Stockholm or anywhere. Maybe. I only went to one nightclub.
Is it really pronounced Boras?
That's how I say it.
Okay.
It doesn't really matter to me.
Swedes are going to be these.
How many Swede listeners are there, you think?
There's not that many.
Okay.
I get a lot of Brazilian listeners.
Yeah?
Which, it's just fucking random.
Yeah.
I go through like the little Facebook and fucking analytics on Google Ad where I'm like, why?
I don't know. I don't
say anything in Portuguese.
The only Brazilian stuff I ever see online is like girls with big asses. It's just like all over Instagram. I'm a big like Instagram like lurker.
Yep.
So like, you know, that's I don't know. It's just always people reposting shit. I don't get what's going on here. Maybe I'm just following the wrong accounts. Maybe I should stop following Big Booty Brazil on Instagram.
You'll definitely.
Maybe
if you weren't
cut down on the amount of photos.
Yeah, but only like nominally. I think no matter what you do on Instagram, there's ass everywhere. You could follow like church.
Well,
you find ass.
There's also like on Twitter too. I find I'll be following an account, and you know, a few months later, I'm following some other account. And it's like they sold their account.
Yep.
You know, like it was like a something I would actually enjoy. I started following it, and then it's sold to a celebrity, or maybe it was a celebrity in the first place, and they sold the account. I'm following some other horse shit about like, you know, cats, and what the fuck is this?
Yep. It's like a cat with a big Brazilian ass. It's a motivational speaker now trying to sell you T-shirts. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
That's Instagram.
Go to my store. Go to my site, my Etsy.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Is that still around?
If it is, it's in the Bay Area for fucking sure. Everybody.
I don't know if it's out here or not.
Everybody has their craft up there.
Yeah. Out here, we're like in Vegas. It's so far to the pretentious side that like I don't think Etsy or Pinterest. I'm sure Pinterest exists, but like people won't admit that they use it. Like, no, I want to buy that there.
Which one's?
I want to buy that off Etsy.
Which one's Pinterest? Is that Tumblr or is it similar to Tumblr? I don't fucking know.
Tumblr is like a blog. Pinterest is it's some like something that girls do. It's like you pin stuff to your wall.
Like
I think it's all like wedding photos and flowers and bouquets and shit, right?
It's funny. I worked in tech for like the better part of my life in fucking Silicon Valley. I don't know what the fuck it is.
Yeah.
Like,
are you sure it's not Silicon Valley here? I always hear Silicon Valley, and I'm like, we've got it. It's right over there. Like,
oh yeah.
Check out the Rhino. Check out Cheetah. Check out Sapphire. That's Silicon Valley.
Is it silicone or like is it
I don't know. Saline.
Oh, saline.
Yeah, it could be Saline Valley.
Might be saline.
I never thought about that. Actually,
So,
I don't know the difference, to be honest. But
this is Saline Valley, maybe.
Yeah, there's actually it's bizarre because there's like a really good barbecue place down there, Roll and Smoke Barbecue, but they're guaranteed to fuck up your order. Like I've been there multiple times, and it's always been a terrible, awful experience. Like I went there, I called in an order. Maybe it's only when you call in. I've called in an order, and I went to pick it up, and you still have to like wait in line, even if you order way in advance. So, you know, it's like an hour before by the time I order, the time I get there and get to the front, and it's like, hey, here's my number, and they're like, oh, we don't have your order. We have no clue how. Like, we didn't make it. We don't even know where it is. We don't see it. Like, nothing. What do you want? Okay, so I tell them, just fucking wait there. No coupon, no like sorry, no, here's a free drink, no, nothing. No, like here, take home our award-winning sauce that's absolutely delicious, straight from Memphis. No, none of that. It was just horse shit. Go on your day. So then, decide I'm going to give him another chance. So I call, and my pregnant girlfriend goes there to pick it up. Fucking didn't even start making the order. So she waits like 30-something minutes in line, gets to the front. They're like, oh, well, we haven't made it yet. So she had to wait there for like another half hour. Same fucking deal. So I called them, no answer. Called them, no answer. Wrote a thing on Twitter, no response. Hey, that's usually my go-to, but didn't work. So
nothing happened.
Yeah.
How are the reviews generally?
Oh, they're phenomenal.
And yours?
The food's really good.
So What's the trick? There's got to be.
Yeah, I've only written like one bad Yelp review ever, and it was for this vegan burger place that opened over here because I waited in the drive-thru for like an hour, and then I fucking got my food, and like the cheese was cold on the burger. I mean, I should have known for going to a vegan burger place.
But no. Say that. Is it cheese though?
Well,
can you cheese?
It tastes like shit, whatever it is. But
okay,
I mean, it's awful.
Okay, yeah,
it's putrid.
I was taken to a place in Santa Cruz once, not knowing I was in a vegan place.
Yeah,
and they advertised the food as like regular food products with names that I know.
Yeah,
but I ordered that thing and it showed up, and I'm like, something's fucking wrong.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it kind of sucked because like the burger itself wasn't bad, but the cheese was so disgusting and so cold in the first place that like it ruined the whole taste. I think the fries kind of sucked too. Maybe the whole thing sucked. Yeah, now that I think about it.
Well, they can be potatoes, right?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know vegan.
But let's be honest, a potato has a fucking feeling too. You're gonna tell me that potato doesn't feel when you cut that stem or whatever happens? I don't even know how they grow. They grow out of the ground.
Underground.
Right.
It's right.
Yeah, but I mean the thing's rooted to something. It's alive, right?
What's that movie?
So how do you know it doesn't have feelings?
Sausage Party. Have you seen it?
No, I lived it many nights over.
You've got to see it, man. It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I've actually heard it was good.
It's really good. It's really good. But yes, potatoes have feelings.
Yeah, see, I believe that.
And the potato chips too. They also have feelings.
Yeah, you know what? I'm addicted to potato chips.
Really?
Yeah, God, I love them. Kettle cooked though, not like the bullshit regular ones. Like those don't do it for me. I need like a good kettle cooked chip. You know, step up from the regular old Lay's.
Like so would it be plain? Would it be salt and vinegar?
No, but it's just well, it could be any flavor.
Any flavor?
Yeah, switch it up. Yeah, like they got those New York style kettle chips. Like I'll get the honey Dijon, buffalo blue. They got a million great flavors. I love them all. Absolutely love them.
So you just kind of mix them up and.
Well, not all at once.
Not all at once.
No, it's an impulse buy.
Impulse. Oh.
Yeah.
I walked around. I think on the way here. So from Sunnyvale driving over, I was at a gas station. I went to Subway because that was all the fuck that was open. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to get a bag of chips. I'm not going to buy it at Subway though, because there was an attached gas station. I'm like, okay, I'm going to think this through. I'm going to walk through here and I'm going to get the exact bag of fucking chips. Like if you had a whole store.
You should have just gotten the Miss Vicky's from Subway or whatever they have.
No, they didn't have them. They just had Sun Chips and fucking Lay's.
You know what? I like those garden salsa Sun Chips. I will admit. They're probably awful for you, but.
Everything's probably
actually,
awful
what the hell? I ate McDonald's earlier, so what the hell do I care?
Yeah.
Shamrock Shake.
Oh, they're back.
Well, yeah, today is. St. Patrick's Day.
I don't fucking know.
You're wearing green. Shit.
I do jujitsu. It's my birthday. I didn't fucking. I just remembered that. Man, I don't know, man.
Think about all the people who are out here right now, hammered on St. Patrick's Day. Like, absolutely, they've been waiting. People have been waiting like weeks for this day. We're just oblivious to it.
Yeah, it's so gross.
I know. I used to love it though. Like a few years ago.
I don't want to be bothered at all.
Yeah, but when did you get out of that phase?
Fucking.
Because you were in it at one point. Had to be, right?
I remember a really, really bad hangover being that sort of trigger point and being like, no.
See, I almost went like, not like cold turkey. I'll still have like a drink every now and again, but it's like for the most part, I just one day like just stopped going out. Like it was like, I'm just done with this.
I really don't drink.
Yeah.
I don't know when or whatever. Everybody like they'll get together and go out and stuff, and I'm just kind of there.
Yeah,
I'm not really into it anymore.
The thing that gets me is like sometimes it'll be like the heat is killing me in the back, and it's like, my mother-in-law brings out a beer, and it's like, hell yeah. I'll have a beer. It's fucking 85 degrees. And I'm sweating my ass off because yesterday it was 50. So.
Yeah, anything cold when you live out here on one of the really hot days.
Yeah, it's like the dryness that like gets me like really bad. So.
Yeah, I'm not used to the desert air. Like I lived out here for a couple of years, so you get acclimated to it pretty quick. But the other thing people do out here that I'm not used to in California, fucking whatever, granola, whatever, but the cigarette smoke. I don't fucking smoke cigarettes, and I'm not used to it. And even if you just walk by a casino, it gets in you. And I have family that smokes. It kills me, man. But Every time I come here, I go back with fucking my lungs are on fire. I'm like this close to getting sick.
I don't know. I guess I never noticed it like when I go into the casino. I guess I don't go into the casinos that much. When I do, I go to like O'Shea's and play War, you know, like $5 War and stuff like that. And that's kind of like open almost. So.
But you don't stay in like a hotel casino, right?
No. I never like stay in there. Even like I fought here last year, and even then I just stayed at home. I had a room at Green Valley, but I didn't use it. But I've never been there. Like I never stayed there. I heard it was pretty nice.
No, it's actually a nice place.
Actually, I went and got my hair done. Got my hair did in one of the rooms.
Got your
there.
hair did?
Yeah. I had to get it braided for the fight because I had like long, flowing locks.
Just a mane of.
It was fucking garbage. It was like a bird's nest of ratty hair and disgusting like lint and shit that are getting trapped in it. But
I believe that if I could grow some sort of like mane of hair, that I may just do that.
Yeah, it sounds like a good idea for a little bit, and then like I think I grew it out for let me think, like a year and a half, and now I'm at the point where like it does not grow nearly as fast as it used to, so it was taking forever to get it. Like I wanted like Shawn Michaels, like, you know, down in the middle of my back, maybe even Fabio level style hair, but it wasn't going to happen, so I had to give up on that dream.
Yeah.
Now I'm going for the Fabio. I want the Fabio length, but chest hair.
Oh.
Just like flowing down the front, you know.
Just this
Kentucky waterfall in the front.
Just a big glistening fucking mane of hair coming right out of your chest.
Yeah.
There you go.
That'd be awful. I have been growing it for a while. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to reach that level, though, anytime soon.
No, you probably want to work on the head hair part.
You know the story about Fabio, about him breaking his nose, his face?
No.
Yeah, so he was on like this is a true story. He was on Howard Stern. I remember it was the day I was driving to go to college. Like I'm in the van, I think it was an 88 or 86 Astro van with my mom.
Okay.
Driving from Fort Myers, Florida to Orlando to go to University of Central Florida. And I'm like listening to Howard Stern on the radio, and Fabio was on it, and he was talking about he was at like a amusement park opening for a ride, and he was like the guest of honor.
Okay.
So they have him like in the front, and on one of the things where it goes down, I think it was a goose flew by and hit him in the face, crushed his face, like destroyed his face, killed the goose. There's, you know, like they hit it at breakneck speeds. So there's pictures out there with Fabio. There's like feathers, and his face is all busted up.
So the guy that was paid more for his look than like any dude ever at that up to that point got hit in the face by a goose.
A goose on a ride, yeah. And like I wasn't really a huge Fabio fan, really, but even better, like Howard Stern's like, you know, they're asking him questions like, "What happened?" He's like, "What hit you in the face?" He was like, "I got hit in the face with a beaver." And they're like, "A beaver?" He's like, "Yeah, that's what broke my face. It was a beaver in my face." And he's talking about like, you know.
Oh.
Like that. But I'm like, I wasn't expecting that out of Fabio. So I was like, I'm a fan of this guy, you know.
But the truth.
Yeah, no, it was legit a goose. I mean, I'll show you. I'll pull it up right now.
Just brought the goose with you.
Yeah. Brought a lot of stuff with me. Continue on as I pull this up.
All right. As Mr.
The last search that I saw on here was Magic Mike XXL too, so. I'm doing research for a gimmick.
Cool.
A gimmick entrance, I think.
Aren't most entrances pretty gimmicked towards that anyway?
There you go. Wow, look at that. Unbelievable.
Is that really the goose?
Yeah, you can see the picture right there. I might want to flash it up on the screen.
That's real?
Yeah.
That's so...
I don't know exactly where it was. But
that says spoofed.
No, man. It's legit.
What the fuck?
Promise you.
Fabio incident spoofed on Starvalence theme park review. I'm skeptical because of the title, but if that is indeed a real thing, I mean that there's an incident at all would tell you that a goose did hit him in the face and he lacks a nose for some reason now.
This is old.
Or at the point.
This is like before the internet, so you're not going to be able to search and find it.
But he has no nose in that picture.
No, it's on it's on Esquire. Never forget the day Fabio killed a bird with his face and changed the world.
Oh my
on
God.
This day in 1999, he hit a goose at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. There you go. Come on. This is front page news story.
Man.
I thought this was like a political podcast. You know, this kind of thing.
Yes. Political podcast. What the fuck did Kyle tell you? Oh, man. Yeah, I remember the Busch Gardens commercials when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Yeah, he's missing a nose.
The sordid details behind it.
At 73 miles per hour, he got a goose to the face on a roller coaster.
Unbelievable, right?
Yeah, that sucks. How do you, man? It just blows my mind just explaining that to people.
Well, it's like the guy that owned Segway died on a Segway, like rode off like a cliff or something on the Segway. It's not the guy that invented it. It's the guy that had bought the company.
Oh,
which I don't know if that makes it better or worse.
Well,
but
he's like damaged.
Now that sounds like another bullshit story, but it's legit. I don't know if Esquire covered it.
You know, he could have saved himself a lot of trouble and just like add that third wheel to begin with, and the whole thing would have been fine.
Well, I think he like went into like a creek or something, like, and then like they found out. I don't know.
It's not where you want to go with a Segway.
No, I don't think he was very well. I was gonna say he's not a very intelligent guy, but he was a millionaire. But now he's dead, so
there's lots of those.
I don't know what that says.
Of all cases, nice segue to the Segway.
Yeah.
The Segway guy dies. Man, how long am I doing this?
Hour 20 minutes.
Is it, dude?
Slow
Cool.
by, yeah.
So, would you say you're on hiatus now from MMA, or are you?
Yeah, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Talk about
what
MMA.
Happened? So what happened is I'm under a 2-year USADA suspension.
Oh, okay.
For a substance called ostarine.
Okay.
Which I'm not sure. Do you know what that is?
I don't know.
No, it's a SARM, a selective androgen receptor module or something.
Okay.
So essentially what it is it's a anabolic agent that is readily found, I guess, in supplements. Like it's a contaminated ingredient in supplements. And there's another guy in the UFC by the name of Tim Means, the Dirty Bird, which is quite interesting that Dirty Bird and Filthy Tom both get popped for the same thing.
Okay.
But they found it in his piss test, and then they found it in like his creatine afterwards. So he got a 6-month suspension for that. There's been other instances in which like I don't know if it was a cross-country skier or runner or something, found it in a salt pill of hers. You know, it's stuff that's found in like pre-workouts, that sort of thing. So they found 17 picograms of the substance in my urine.
Which is like 1,000th of a nanogram.
It's like really small, yeah. They found 17 picograms, according to the scientists, or approximately 17 picograms of it. I had them test a couple things, couldn't find out what it was. B sample came back the same because it always does. And zero tolerance policy, out for 2 years, and that's how I ended up, doing some pro wrestling.
So, not trying to sound like a dick, but did you check the Jacky Lloyd? No. It's not even a joke.
No. The Jacky Lloyd I took so far back ago. It was like 4 or 5 years ago I took it. Now, that other stuff, Big Bang, I had it. I had it at my house, but I hadn't taken it.
Okay.
I didn't start taking it until after the test because I went and checked that bottle. Like, did I take a little bit of it and not remember? And the bottle was sealed. So then after, I was like, well, shit, I might as well take it now. So maybe it is in there, but it wasn't in there before.
Well, the reason I asked about the ejaculate is we were talking about the Rhino thing. I mentioned the Rhino. There's actually the real stuff's in there as well. Isn't that what Anderson Silva and I think John Jones? That was what the claim was.
Yeah.
And they tested John Jones's sample, and it had something to do with that as well, right?
Yeah, I don't know. There was a story that I guess that he or his buddy had ordered some pills off the internet, and it was in those pills, but like that one was like the amounts that they found in the pills were like inconsistent across the board. Like there was like different pills that had different amounts, and like so apparently the company is really really garbage, like shady supplement company. So who knows what the situation with that is. Like me myself, I don't even take any supplements besides like I started thinking the other day, or I'm looking through my cabinet like all the time thinking like, am I gonna find what it was? Like emergency, right? That's a supplement.
Sure.
I've never thought about that. That could have been that. They said it's a powder, right? So it could just be any white powder they find on a conveyor belt. It doesn't get cleaned properly. There's somebody making a substance on it before, and they don't wipe down the instruments as well. You know,
it could be
for
any
such a small,
ingredient for
such a
anything.
small amount too. I don't know what they can't tell me what the initial dose would be, you know, but they said to look within 7 days of the test. And it's like, well, if that's the case, then there's nothing different, you know, really. So it's such a small amount. It could be a trace amount of something, or maybe, you know, I ate something that had a bigger amount of it, you know, a week prior, and then it wore down. I don't know. But the only stuff that I would like use that's not straight up food was like emergency, which, you know, I wouldn't even think that's considered a supplement. I would think that's just, you know, it's so readily available. Or like energy drinks every once in a while, or like Jamba Juice and tropical smoothie, and that's the only stuff that I have.
Yeah, I haven't even heard of the substance. So I mean, for it to really, it does how does a picogram trip some? How does that?
Well, because it picks up any amount.
Okay.
Like any amount at all. So one of the first things I did was I called up Kyle and it was like, hey,
what is this?
Yeah, because I have no earthly idea. So, you know, he was like, well, if you're going to use something, it wouldn't be that. You know, like, I don't know anybody that's using that shit. Like, if you're going to use something, it would be something more beneficial. So one of the first things I did when that happened was, like, I put out what the substance was, because it was like, this is, if you do the research, it's something that you can find is, like, a readily contaminated substance. You know, it's like, I don't know how. I mean, the lawyer I spoke to on the phone is reputable. He said it's the number one substance that they're putting into supplements now that's like getting found as a contaminant. So, well.
Random pre-workouts, all kinds of stuff. People don't realize it's in there. And
yeah, like, I mean, you know, sometimes I'm walking through somewhere, I'll have a sample of that at Whole Foods, or I'll have a sample of this at the, you know, people set up a booth at the gym or something, like, hey, you know, here's Maximum Nutrition, and we're giving out samples, and here's this energy drink, and you fucking drink it and think nothing of it. But, you know, any of that stuff could have been the culprit. So
yeah, I mean, in order to navigate that stuff, it seems like you have to have somebody following you 24/7, like on the nutrition thing, like that and not that, that and not that.
Well, or you have to hoard everything that you eat so that you have it, like, to present in the case that something like this happens. Because say, like, I go to the store and I get this, I buy a smoothie, and or I buy a batch of protein, then I use it, and that's what it ends up being. You know, the odds that I get that same batch, I can buy that same batch, that same exact protein that was made on that same day at that same time, is probably pretty low. You know, and that's what you would have to have in order to prove that it came from that source. You know.
So you'd basically have to have somebody following you around collecting samples of everything you eat.
Yeah, it's like people, you know, I've gotten into like arguments on the internet or read what people write on the internet. And it's like, well, if I was a professional athlete, I'd have somebody monitoring everything that I ate, and I'd have a list of it, and I'd have receipts monitoring all of it, and I'd have little pieces of it saved in case of stuff like this. And it's like, man, if that's how I have to live, I don't even want to fight. Like, if I have to be a hoarder to exist in this business, what the fuck's the point? Like, you know, life's too short to be living like that.
Yeah, what he's describing is a full-time career for like a team of like
a bookkeeper.
Yeah, it sounds like some like archaeological dig. Like you're trying to be.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? This is
pretty much. We're gonna preserve you.
So. It's like, I wanted to kick and punch stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's a different job, probably.
Yeah,
a little bit.
It's a lot less. Well, a lot less thinking, I was gonna say, but not necessarily. A lot of thought process goes into fighting. So
absolutely, but that's a whole different thing, right?
Yeah.
What they're expecting. Well, first of all, if they're sitting behind a keyboard trying to criticize other people's jobs, like that's not a job.
Actually, some of those guys are very successful, sadly. So whatever.
Sure.
But yeah. So that's kind of how I've ended up doing back in a kind of pro wrestling and getting involved in that again. It's been 10 years, so. Got back in the ring like 3 or 4 weeks ago, had a match, and I've watched it, you know, a few times. Sometimes I hate it. Sometimes I'm like, that wasn't too bad. Sometimes, that spot wasn't all right. You know, that looked like shit. And then other times I think, oh, you know what? That was pretty damn good. So, a lot of stuff to work on, but, you know, it's like, we'll see. I mean, it's either 2 years off from the UFC where I get to have fun and play fantasy camp and wrestle, and then maybe go back, maybe not, or, maybe I'll have to ask for my release at this point. I don't know. I mean, I'm not getting any younger. I mean, no one is.
Yeah, that's the thing also. So who trained you to get into pro wrestling?
Originally?
Yeah.
Saying back. So I went to a school, a training facility that was called FXE, and there was like a number of guys that were trainers. There was probably like 4 or 5 guys that were there pretty consistently. One of them, when I don't remember the timelines like all exactly. Hack Myers, who was in ECW back in the day, he was kind of like a comedy figure, or got over as like an undercard, like cult kind of comedy guy. Michael Shane. Okay. You remember him from TNA?
Before that, he was NWA Wildside, I think.
Yeah, he's related to Shawn Michaels.
Yep.
I think that was legit. Alex Porto.
The Pug?
The Pug, yeah. Alex Porto trained me. I had a match against him as well. I remember I had a match against him at a car dealership, and he like whipped me with a chair. Like one of those, like a plastic chair that didn't fold. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh.
Like the ones in like the elementary school lunchroom.
Oh.
Like one of those, yeah. So he beat me with one of those. I remember that. Another guy by the name of Vito DiNucci, who was NWA World Tag Team Champion. And then like later on, maybe like a year after I had been training, Devon Dudley started coming in a lot to the school before he ended up having his own place. So I got to train with him pretty frequently. There was always guys in and out. Jamie Noble was in for a little bit when I was getting started, so I'd get to get some good work with him. I mean, it was good for me. It probably sucked for him. And Spanky, Brian Kendrick, he was there, and he helped me out quite a bit as well. So I'm sure that I'm like forgetting a bunch of people, but
awesome.
There's a lot of guys on the indie scene down there that were pretty cool to me as well. So got no bad experiences from that part of my life, I guess.
Cool. So, in getting back into it now, have you gone through the training, or you're just going right into it?
Yeah, I was training like under the radar for a few months from probably like September or August. I probably did like 2 or 3 months just going in once or twice a week, getting some ring time, seeing if I could like actually do it again. And then at one point I was like, fuck, I'm really beat up because I was training MMA full time still lifting weights, still going there, just putting the miles on my body. And I was like, if I'm going to wrestle in the future, I should probably stop taking bumps right now so I can save myself a little bit. So once the UFC gave me the go-ahead and they said I could do some pro wrestling, then like that week I was in training. Then the next week I had a match. So it's really been like a really short turnaround.
Right on.
Probably like maybe 6 weeks ago, I found out they told me that I could do it. So it's been really quick.
I think a few weeks ago I saw a flyer on Facebook came around. It was like, said you were making your debut or re-debut, I should say.
Yeah.
So it's a California-based show, or?
No, that must have been the one that was here.
Oh, that was one here?
Future Stars. Yeah, Future Stars Wrestling TV taping, which was 2 weeks ago, and then I did one of their like an arena show the next week, and then Silverton the end of this month, and then Davey Richards next month at the Eastern Oregon Civic and Trade Center in Hermiston, Oregon.
So that's a plug.
Yeah.
Hermiston, Oregon.
Woo! That was a tough one to get out there. Sorry.
Yeah, might need a
I
little
had
water
a
after
big
that one.
cough after that. Yeah.
Damn. So working some pretty good talent already.
Yeah. I've got some other stuff lined up. There should be a show early on in Orlando that I've already been contacted to. I've agreed to. I've had a couple of opponents not accept the terms of the super fight.
But super fight.
Yeah, that's what I refer to my matches as.
Awesome.
My fights. And also should be in a bigger profile show at the end of May, which I have agreed to. Hopefully the promotion continues to want me on there.
Have you stuck to One Ring Music yet?
Yeah. So far I have, but I just got a separate one made. So I'm going to try out another one. So I've been using, I have it on here. I might could play it for you.
Let's do it.
Hold on. Give me a second. Yeah, I'm open to suggestions pretty much as far as anything. Whoa, okay. I'm open to suggestions as far as wrestling character and anything goes because I've been in the MMA and wrestling bubble for so long, although you may have been as well. So,
I feel like there's right now the MMA guy is was it Kevin Cross? Is that his name?
Yeah. He's
got that shooter gimmick.
Yep, at FSW. So let me pull up the original one, the one I've been using. This makes for great radio, by the way.
Absolutely.
You're pulling up songs on your phone.
They'll listen.
All right. So
it could be a commercial.
here we go.
I'll insert those later. Don't worry. That's the cool part about being live. I can trim all this. I probably won't. It's a lot of work.
Here you go. In fucking 5 minutes, one Sprint begins to start working.
Sprint. I was told T-Mobile was good in Vegas.
I guess so. They got the T-Mobile Arena. I'd hope it's this should be their hot spot, right? You'd think. I don't know. I'm still on my parents' family plan, so
That's awesome.
yeah, I know. I'm hoping to get it till I'm like 40, but I just got bitched at. Like I was like, hey, I think I have an upgrade, and my mom's like, oh, there we go. It's the original. It goes in the Scissor Sisters song, which is about tranny prostitutes, actually. It's one of the worst videos you've ever seen. I guarantee it.
I have a favorite Scissor Sister
So-
song.
Well, this is the first one that I know. I know that. What was the other?
I Don't Feel Like Dancing.
That was their popular one? 'Cause that's not what I was gonna.
That's ring
Name.
music right there. If you could pull off the entrance.
Well,
to
I've got another one here. And this is what I'm gonna use in Herpestown, Oregon, and that is.
You're working heel, right?
I am now. It's this one. This I've got a different idea. I'm gonna try this one out, test it out, see how it goes. I don't know. It's not as catchy as the other one, but of course it's gonna take another 5 minutes to get going.
As we talk about T-Mobile again.
Yeah.
And not Sprint.
Fuck, man.
I had AT&T for years. So much faster.
Well, honestly, I'd get on like a different one if.
I didn't have to pay
If I
for it
didn't
for
have to pay
so
for it.
long. It was awesome. I just had to start paying for my phone maybe 2 months ago, and I didn't know what anything cost.
Oh, it's
I was
outrageous.
really, really spoiled.
Yeah, it's like $100+ a month, right?
Oh,
Well, this probably isn't gonna even fucking load for another 5 minutes.
it's a really good song, guys.
It's one of the best you've ever heard,
Ever.
probably.
So, if we were going to summarize, I don't know how, because we said a lot of things.
Most of it random bullshit.
No, that's what these are supposed to be. These are supposed to be
I'm
that.
glad I delivered on that.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Because I feel like once they put on that Middle America, in other news, like I'm being lied to. You know the Channel 2 or Channel 5, like I know they're lying.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter what they say. Like it could be a real thing, and they're lying somehow.
It's the presentation of it.
Yeah, and it's not natural. That announcer voice, I'm like, yeah.
I'm still hoping that this is gonna like turn on, but it's probably. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's the one. Don't get sued.
Some toothless broad's getting a lap dance. That's for damn sure. Whether she likes it or not, which is even worse.
Is that why Magic Mike was in your search history?
I'll say yes, even if it's not the truth.
It's not the truth.
I don't want to admit it. Oh, well.
Yeah,
All right.
you do that all the time.
Yeah, it's all right.
All right, fucking. It's probably been a lot of hours. That lavender, is that lavender? Would you call that curtain there?
Definitely not lavender.
What would you call it?
Blue,
It's just blue?
I think. Is it not? I don't know.
I may be colorblind.
Yeah, it could have been gray when we started, but I think it's blue now.
It's
so
definitely.
whatever.
No, it was gray because we pulled the gray one back.
All right. Yeah, actually, that's a good point too. There we go.
All right.
Mind's blown.
Cognitive function still there after 2 hours of pro wrestling talk and other things, man. We got any sponsors you want to shout out?
Man, I'm wearing my boy's clothing here. He needs to send me some more or some dough, or I'll fucking take pizza dough. I don't give a shit.
Pizza dough's
8 man
delicious.
strong. Check me out on Twitter at Filthy Tom Lawlor, on Instagram as well at Filthy Tom Lawlor. And I've got some, like one of those pro wrestling tees sites, but it's on Not Pro Wrestling Tees. But they should probably switch it over because it's one of their sister sites. But I can't remember exactly what it is right now, so I'm not going to give them the plug.
But if you Google it,
I kind of gave them the plug. So
probably find it if you Googled it, allegedly.
Yeah. Also, check me out. I'll put up my schedule on Twitter, my wrestling schedule. So definitely check out FSW. They've been great to me so far. And also check me out in Herpestown, Oregon, or wherever the hell it is. Eastern Oregon Trade Center. Jesus. Prestige Championship Wrestling.
Prestige Championship Wrestling.
Yeah. Look, it's a badass show. Me versus Davey Richards fighting in the main event. And Chris Masters taking on Ken Anderson on the undercard, right? I mean, what the hell's going on here? I'm headlining above these guys. Hell's frozen over.
Well, it's a fight he wants. It's a fight he wants, right?
It's a fight he's going to get.
There you go, man. Thank you, Filthy Tom Lawlor, for coming on. And check him out. All those places he said to check him out in Herpestown, Oregon for Prestige Championship Wrestling and all other places where kickassery can be found. Thanks.